Hey, it's MK and I am back with another Christy's Beautiful Life 30 Days of Sketches, and it is also Take Out Your Tools Tuesday. So what tools are we going to take out? We are taking out we're still playing with dies, and this time we are playing with frame dies. Now frame dies are basically basic shape dies. Now they consider these like labels, but a label and a frame and things like that are all the same. Now, basically what I'm saying is a frame is something that you can center on, and then, you know, like you flip it over and you center on it, and then you can cut it out into a shape, and then you have another shape to go behind it to frame it in, okay? So I just pulled out all the ones that I own, and I mostly have, you know, like rectangles and squares, because I love doing, oh, what is it called? I absolutely love the squares and the rectangles, you guys. It's just my thing, especially when you like build blocks and then pop them up off your page and then build your layout on top of that. Okay, super fun. I would love to do that for another layout when I'm not playing with sketches, because I don't think that I will be able to do something like this with any of the sketches, but I might. We will definitely see. I also have, like, these ones are just labels, like I think they call these apothecary labels, but still the same thing. I can still frame something in. Here's a bunch of frames here. This one's cool because it's like a marquee frame. All right, and lots of other frames, lots of other you know, like this one here has got a fancy frame, and then here's the inner bits of it. Ooh, how cool is that? Oh, same with this one, like a mirror frame. Okay. This one's fancy too. Now these ones here don't cut out the insides. They only, like, it's a decorative edge style. So it could be a photo mat or anything like that. This one here is layered. So the more that you layer it on, the more that you can get all the pieces. So you can start out way out here, and then cut an inside, and then cut some more, and then cut some more, and have really cool frames, or just one ginormous frame without the inner bits cut out. Okay, and then this one is same thing. It's just the squares, and they're stitched. So they're stitched on inside and outside, so you can have the outside frame and a whole bunch of holes in your layout, and then put all the pieces behind, kind of like Polaroid photos where you can't cut them up and you had to cut the paper and then glue it behind the paper. Same thing. This one looks almost identical to the other set that I have, but it's got this extra little hump right here on all four corners, if this had corners. Anyways, and then I have two of the chunky dies. Now these are like foam right here, and then they've got metal pieces inside here. They say if you put your hand on it and squish, I've never cut myself, but they say you can. So be careful. It says, you know, cutting hazard. So this one is like one of my all-time favorites, and it's called a top note. I absolutely loved this frame back in the day. I've got cork pieces in it because I used to cut it in all sorts. Now these thicker ones, you can cut uber thick material like felt and cork, some metals that are a little bit thicker than aluminum, and is it chipboard? Yes, chipboard, grunge board, and cardboard. So lots of materials you can cut with these big guys. And last but not least, I have these frames, and they are called window frames. So check this out. So you cut the frame, but this part right here is not cut out, and so you've got this little flap to do a little peekaboo window. See all those? This one here is like a double door. Super cute. This one's a little scallop door, a little round peg, and a little square. Aren't those adorable? Those are kind of cool. These are actually what we're going to play with today. We're going to play with both of these Biggs dies because I love this one. I just wanted to show you guys what I classify as a frame, just because it's like an awkward shape, so it's not a hexagon. I can do all my hexagons as frames. I can do my stars as frames, hearts, circles, all those can also be frames. But in my frames category, I have these weird shapes that are nestled inside each other. I always know where my stars are. I always know where my hearts and circles are and things like that. But when it comes to this weird shape right here, even though they're with my rectangles and squares, this is where they go. They just hang out with all the weird, all the weird dies. And so that way I can know exactly where they are and what I'm looking for. I don't use fancy little things like this very often, but like I said, I would love to do a layout, especially using these types of frames, and show you guys what I was talking about as far as like cut a whole bunch of them out and build them on top of your, as your background, okay? And then build your layout on top of that. So I will write that down and attempt to remember that I want to do a layout like that because I think it's uber super fun. I might even do that on a Facebook Live over on my Facebook page, which is Some Assemblage Required, in case you guys didn't know that, because I never talk about myself, like never. So anyways, what do I have here? Here I have like my very first time attempting to do a scan, or no, not a scan and cut, a print and cut with my Cricut. So how this works is you pick some images. I just went to my Cricut library and said, hey, I want some cute little seals. I didn't say cute seals, but I just say just the word seal. And the first thing that pops up is the animal. And then once you get past the animals, then you're going to see like labels and things, which can be considered as seals, right? Like sealing an envelope, that sort of seal. So, but they do the animal first, and so I got to go and scroll through all of these cute little animals, and they had these seals, which I thought were awesome because this one's in a square and a circle and a diamond, blah, blah, blah. You guys see what I'm saying? So you click on the image that you want, you put it on your virtual mat, and then you hit go. And when it goes to the mat, or when it goes to, they call it the mat, which is a virtual mat, it'll ask you to print these. And so you just go over to your printer, put the paper in the printer, and it prints out these. Now, depending on the type of printer that you have, the coloration might be a little bit different, might be a little bit off, all that good jazz. And then it will print a border around it, like a big solid black border all the way around just your images, not the whole page, but just where your images lie. So you might waste a little bit of paper. This one did, but I just used an 8.5 by 11 sheet because that's all that fits in my printer. So then you take it over to your Cricut and you tell it to cut. Well, then your Cricut does like this whole little where's my border thing, and it's looking and it's measuring and it's making sure that it sees all that stuff. How it does that, I have no idea. But it's uber cool, and it sits there and it takes a little bit because it measures the top to bottom and side to side and then from side to image. So it kind of like knows, and then it goes to the other side and from side to image. So let it do its thing. It's working and doing its thing. And afterwards, it will cut. And so mine was actually cut a little bit off, which I'm okay because you're not going to see the whole thing anyways. But mine were cut just slightly off because of the fact that I tried with my cell phone first because I love just designing and printing how it's easy with my cell phone. And print and cut does not work with my cell phone. It just kept shutting the program down saying, I don't know what you want me to do. So I had to go over to my computer, and when my computer put the images on the mat, it rearranged them. And I thought, well, that was just silly. So I had to rearrange them to the way I already had them printed. And I thought, well, if I need to print it again, I just want to see if it works. And it did. And they're really cute. And with what I want to keep in my layout, I'm not even going to bother reprinting. They're perfect. They work just for me. I have a few 6x6 pieces of paper. So I've got 2 picked out for my photo mats, and I've got 2 picked out for the sketch. And then I have this background piece, which is from a paper stack, but I don't remember which one. I do know it's by Park Lane from Joann's. I just don't remember which one that it came from. I know it's Ocean. Huh? Anyways, what is the sketch? All right, here is the sketch. Whoa, crooked. There we go. Ha. All right, it's got this ginormous image right here, another piece of paper there, a few little images there, this little banner that we're going to ignore because I don't do banners, and then lots of mixed media. Well, my background is going to work as my mixed media, and if you've noticed, it kind of has a printed mixed media all over it, right? So it's already there. I might pull out a little bit of dark green or maybe some black. I'm not sure just yet. I might pull out the black. We will see, and splatter it when I'm all done. But for right now, that is what I'm going to start with, is just what I have right here. I do want to incorporate all of these really awesome, amazing pieces of chunky dies. Okay, I think they're called, well, this is Sizzix brands, and this one's called a Biggs, and this one's called a Biggs L. Yep, okay. Chunky dies. Yep, I'll stick with that because that's silly. So I'm not going to use thin cut dies. We're going to play with this. Unfortunately, I can't take you over to the die cut machine, but I will be cutting out my images with these guys. I just have to use a thinner sandwich than if I was to run this one through right here. Okay? All right, let's get started and see what I can do.
Yay. So once the camera was turned off, I decided that I was going to use this punch that I originally pulled out for another layout, but it was sitting near my desk, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to punch a couple little leaves just because I felt like this layout was pretty plain since I'm not using the star portion of the sketch. Right now, I'm going to work on my photo mats, and I did back my photos with the green paper that I chose, but then I decided that it needed a little something else. And so I'm just going to do a little tissue behind each one, and I just take my aqua brush and I put around, you know, I make a frame around where I want to rip my tissue paper, just to make it a lot easier and a little bit more controlled instead of, you know, it all wonky. And then I decided, no, I want it wonky. So, and I wanted it a little bit thinner too. I always make my first pass a little bit thick because I want it, you know, I want to make sure that there's room for error. And then the bottom portion, I crinkle up and then I will put down. You really can't tell the difference, but what it does is it lifts up that first layer so you can see that there are two layers. It just adds a little bit of dimension, but yet it's very subtle. So I also decided that I wanted a little bit of cheesecloth behind everything, like the paper element, the photo elements, everything. I just wanted some cheesecloth. I just wanted to add a little bit of interest in this layout or in the sketch that I felt like was missing. It was a pretty plain sketch, and it just didn't, I don't know, I guess it just didn't have enough for me. I like to add just a lot of things, a lot of interest to my layouts, you know, texture and dimension and things like that. Now, not every layout has to have texture and dimension, but I do enjoy it. So I did fast forward this quite a bit, but I didn't want to do it so fast that you guys, you blinked and you missed it. So basically I put one layer of cheesecloth down, and then I am using the glue that was already on top, and I stuck my other piece of cheesecake, and now I'm just sealing it in with it's called gel medium. I just picked it up at my local Joann's. And then once it dried, I have brought back my photos, and now I need to use this Terran tape to glue everything to the cheesecloth. Now, the cheesecloth is, like I said, it's very, very subtle. You really can't see it. It's not very noticeable, but to me, it added the texture and the dimension that I was looking for when it came to these little, you know, this sketch. So does it represent the mixed media? Kind of, sort of. I think everything that I bring in is going to represent the mixed media, because I felt like the mixed media is what was the embellishing. I mean, you break it down, you've got two photos, a star, a piece of paper, and some chevron pieces, and that's it. And so I felt like where the mixed media is where the embellishments were supposed to be. So what's representing my chevron is the seaweed that I picked out in my papers. And I went to my die cut machine. I pre-cut everything out. So there's my large top note. And I decided that I was going to use the top note looking little peekaboo frames. And then that way they kind of sort of all matched, except for the bottom one where I used the double window. Yeah. So I did cut out one of the peekaboo frames in the exact same paper as my large top note, which I will use as my journaling spot because it's got that light little blue right there where I can just add, a little bit of blurb about, how adorable seals are. These guys were adorable. And in SeaWorld, down in San Diego, you can walk up to a little booth. Well, you could. I don't know if you can still. And purchase a little bucket of, I don't know if they're sardines or what, but they're little tiny fish. They could be heron. I have no idea. But yeah, you can purchase one of these. And these guys actually, they take turns. I thought it was hilarious. At first I thought, you were just going to get a whole bunch of mouths, like the seagulls going, me, me, me. No, they actually take turns. So like one guy will be on a rock and doing all these cute little, look at me, little, attention seeker little, I don't want to call them tricks because they weren't really tricks, but they were just adorable and everybody, got a big kick out of them. And, one will walk up and, okay, my turn, feed me. And then they'll go to the rock and do a little happy dance. And it was adorable. And back in the day, I wished I would have had, an actual camera so I could record it because it was just, it's my turn on the rock and okay, it's my turn for the fish. It just was adorable and they knew exactly what they were doing. Anywho, so my paper is double-sided. So I am going to be not bringing in, but it will have, like the other side of the doors will have almost a solid color on the back. And they're little fishies that, that are kind of swimming in a circle, which you can't tell with this small of a square going on. But yeah, it is, just, I'm folding it over and I'm putting a enamel dot where the little, I don't know, it was like a notch for a finger hole to open up the flap. Well, I want my flap to stay open. So I put a little bit of glue on the edge of the door and then I put my, enamel dot. I'm so sorry. Watching me cut seaweed and it's distracting. Actually, it's quite pleasing, but distracting enough to where I can't speak. And then I put my enamel dot down. And so I don't expect the enamel dot to hold the door down. So that's why I added just a little bit of glue down. Working on my second seal. And I just love how the cheesecloth shows through, and even though the seals don't fit exactly in in the frames, the cheesecloth helps take away from that, oh, that doesn't fit, or oh, that that kind of sticks out. It takes away from that, and I really like that. Same with the seaweed as well, poking out behind that. Oh, I didn't take out me texting. I apologize, you guys. How rude. Are you done yet? Thank you. Let's get back to the layout. That was very rude, you guys. Someone should have a talk with her. Anyways, I apologize. I thought I took out everything. Now I'm embarrassed. So here in a minute, I am still thinking as I'm putting together this second little frame, how do I keep the dimension of the door? And I want it to stay dimensional inside my layout once I put it in a page protector. And I figured that a lot of other people are going to be like, well, how does she expect it to not smush down? And I want to share that with you guys on how I came up with doing that. Just going to do my second one. So here I'm going to go through all of these little scraps that, yes, I still have on my desk from the She's Crafty mini paper pad class. And basically what I came up with in my little brain was to make those roll-up beads. Do you guys remember those where we just took a strip of paper and we put so much glue on it that it hardened into a bead? That's what I'm going to do. I am going to roll up these as tight as I can. I use the end of my paintbrush to get me started. And then I just took some scraps and I rolled up my paper into beads, and now I've got this really thick log that I'm going to stick underneath the door. Now I did put glue all the way around it, so I'm going to adhere the little hump of the door and the bead to the frame at the top. So now it is like sealed shut. It's, permanent, I guess. And I've already done that to my little frame on the left side as well. And then I'm going to work on the double door. Now, if I was thinking, because of how small the image was, I probably would have put him all the way to the right and left one of the doors kind of closed. That's probably what I would have done. But I thought that it would look okay and be, not so noticeable, because again, you've got the cheesecloth in the background. You're going to have seaweed I'm going to have seaweed in the background. And so I think it'll be okay. It doesn't really bother me having, all the things in the background, but see how cute it is with the doors half open. If I would have put him all the way to the right, it would have looked adorable having only one door open and his little face peeking through, and then the other door only half open. But it's an afterthought. It's done. I can't take it back now. So just cutting out some more seaweed. I really wanted to frame in this little guy because I felt like he was, I felt like he was an afterthought, and there wasn't really much to him. And when I thought about it afterwards, I could have left him off and only did the 2 seals up at the top and the bottom. But I do like this little third seal. One, he's adorable. I couldn't leave him off my layout. Even though I probably have more seal photos, I couldn't leave him off my layout. And so I just framed him in and gave him a little seaweed, little flourish on both sides. And again, I rolled up some smaller beads, paper beads, and glued them to my doors, as well as put a little adhesive on the edge of my door, so that way the enamel dot wasn't doing all of the work. I probably said that already, but it's a different door. So anywho, I am almost done. I do have to tell you guys that I did sprinkle or splatter some green and black in some areas, and I totally forgot to record that. So I'm just going to finish off my enamel dots. I just love it when I can use up a whole row of enamel dots. It does not bother me one bit. And that's all I'm going to show you guys. But in the close-ups, I do have splatters on my layout, because it was like, oh, totally forgot to do that, but I was too lazy to turn the camera back on. So here it is. Here's my interpretation of the sketch. Did I mention that I flipped it? I did. I flipped it based on my subjects. One photo ended up being smaller, and it looked kind of silly on the left page. Anyways, be sure to check out everyone else that played along. I know this layout or this video is a little bit behind a day, but everyone else still played along on the day that they were supposed to. And I just did not. Anyways, I will check you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.